everyone, and welcome back to the Tavern of Tales. As ever, it is lovely to have you with us this evening for some more intrigue and excitement. I apologize about the overlay. Had some camera things. I'll fix it in a moment. Don't worry about it. As ever, I have some tavern announcements for you.
As ever, I have some.
Why can't I hear myself twice? There we go.
That was a mic. I fixed it.
Fixed it. No worries. First off, as ever, yes, unfortunately, no Jet or Lawler tonight. Just, an unfortunate night that way. But that's fine. So first, please be aware, our fairy barmaids, when you are moving around the tavern, Tavern of Tales is not responsible for any injuries you suffer if you get careless and get in their way. You have been warned. They will not pull punches, literally. Second, the Tavern of Sales, our merch store, thetavernofsales.com, is technically up and running, but there's nothing on it. But this week, when we get our new logo, which should be tomorrow, a bunch of merch will be going live there. We'll have the Tavern of Tales merch itself with our beautiful new logo. It's wonderful. It's a sign with Baxter on it. It's the Tavern of Tales. It's a book. You'll love it. You guys will get to see it. We'll have How's the Barovia merch for those who used to see our old intro where we have the stained glass windows of the leaders, and it's gorgeous. It's going to look great on the hoodies and such. We have the Dragonberries. They came out of me, of course. I love your D&D character. Thanks. It's the trauma. And what is D&D but accidental therapy? All of those will be available this week, throughout the week. Honestly, if I do everything right, they should just be available tomorrow night. The best way to keep up with that is to join our Discord, which, as ever, is the place to keep up with what we do here. Everything we do. New stuff coming to the channel. Announcements. We have an exciting announcement that I get to surprise the cast with after the show. There's that. I know. See? I actually laid this one close to the chest. And lastly, in addition to the don't get in our barmaid's way, I would like to remind all of you that the workshop is off limits for your safety, not ours. We are not responsible if you ignore the 6 warning signs and 12 locks and accidentally turn yourself into a 6-foot-tall porcelain doll. That's your problem, not ours. It's happened twice, Virus. Twice. So
look, neither of those were my fault.
No, they weren't. I'm aware, but it needs to stop. So with all of that out of the way, let us continue our tale, Houses of Barovia. So. Oh no, I closed my music. I'm a failure. All right, well, mistakes were made.
I have a feeling there should be a lot of mistakes made tonight. I'm just throwing that out there.
Ooh, that's
but I don't know what we're expecting.
Last chapter, our plucky heroes prepared for the house's ball, whereof the Lamport. Oh wow, English is going to be rough tonight. I apologize, everybody. The vampire lords from each house would be present. Some pranks were prepared and dress clothes made ready. The ball itself was a fun event. Bastion and Eros enjoyed some quality time together, while Dom was surprised to spend the evening with Mariska, and Liz attended the ball on the arm of Strahd. An enjoyable evening interrupted as Strahd gave a speech in peace and unity to the house lords. Irina stepped forward and revealed themselves to be a primordial, the creature that seems to have created this place. The very creature on the door of the Amber Temple. They declared their deal, seemingly with Lady Lysaga, Strahd's mother, at least in this Barovia, over, and that the great game would begin. The glitch that held this place together seems to have been broken, as well as none of those in attendance glitched at all, but listened enraptured. And that is where we will begin. I will start with Liz. As this monster unveils itself, how are you feeling?
Well, there's a bit of a flashback to the Amber Temple and the weird thing that happened at the door of the Amber Temple and the weird connection to the pieces of the statue at the Amber Temple. So, considering the last few days and the fact that she's been switching between people randomly and having memories come back and she's not real excited about this new development. She is confused and intrigued and maybe just a little scared.
Bastion?
Bastion, who is holding Eros' hand at the moment, face twisted in rage, is using the last of his willpower not to crush Eros' hand. And it is just full of the deepest hatred for his mortal enemy. Or immortal enemy. I don't know how that works.
That's that's an interesting conundrum that I had not considered the impact of. And Eros, as Bastion is tensed up and seems to be very aggressive.
A face you have not seen him make ever before.
Eros is, his attention is drawn twofold. One to Bastion, the other to, the huge fucking primordial. And he has decided that instead of nearly getting his hand crushed, he's going to slip his hand out of Bastion's grasp and sort of wrap his arms around Bastion's arm instead. Scared.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I forgot to mention this last session, but when the many-faced one unmasked itself, Vess transformed back into Liss. Just like that.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
Oh.
She may be even a little more disconcerted now than she was then. She suddenly lists. Yeah, she is not okay. She is staring at this thing like, do I kill it or do I run or do we talk?
There are very many options to be had at the moment. What are our compatriots who are physically not here at the moment, but are here in spirit doing? How are they reacting?
Ranagar, who was, how do I describe it best? A sad boy earlier has jumped to their feet. That is an accurate assessment, I think.
It's a very accurate assessment.
And has jumped to their feet.
Just caught me off guard.
And sort of tensed up and is just staring at this thing with a deep hatred. Ranagar, based on their age, has fought primordials. They fought in the Primordial War. And more than that, it was a primordial that tricked Ranagar's older brother, Neltharion, into becoming, into basically casting a spell that turned half of the dragons evil, including Ranagar's mother, Tiamat. There is a deep loathing that even Bastion might not be able to reach for these creatures. Especially ones like the many-faced one that are less monster and more person. More influence and bending, and because some of them are just monsters, but others,
less a preternatural force and more manipulative and conniving and just fucking evil. Okay.
Lithe and Dom has sort of taken it back and went to stand in front of Marishka, but Marishka stood in front of them, being much more durable than they are. The lithe creature stands in the center of the ballroom. Fire spouts occasionally from the pillars as guests and servants stare on in shock and horror at the thing that was Irina a moment ago. Even the assembled vampire lords of the houses of Barovia look shook and concerned. The creature has all 6 of its arms outstretched, gesturing around itself. Not a single citizen of Shadow Barovia is glitching, matching the words that many-faced one had said that this illusion was no longer needed. Lady Lysaga at the front looks to be torn between terror and rage at the realization she has apparently been tricked by this being. The great game begins. I have been looking forward to this for so very long. You know, I was upset when you introduced time, Baba, but anticipation is such a wonderful feeling. And at long last, here is the moment. They look at Lysaga, at least as best as you can tell with their smooth, featureless face. The assembled vampire lords are shockingly quiet, collectively stunned, although there's something about it. It's like watching people be shocked of something they were vaguely aware of. Matron Morveau looks very shocked, almost too shocked, there's something off with them. And some other guests are missing already. So the game begins. The rules are simple. No one can leave this place. Don't bother trying. No spell or ability is getting you out of here. The gods struggle to get in. But the ruler of Barovia can come and go as they please. So if you want out, you must win. One house will stand above the others, subjugate the other houses, or kill them all. Whatever works for me. The house that comes out on top will claim the throne of Barovia and can leave. Everyone else will belong to me. A fair deal, yes? What are you exactly? What a wonderful question. Allow me to introduce myself to all of you. I am the one of many faces. I am anywhere and anywhere. I am the master impersonator, the eldritch actor, the greatest threat to the cosmic balance, rival to Vaz, the mastermind of the end of times, and they just go off. Consistently.
After a moment, Liz kind of watches this and hears the whole spiel going and goes, well, how interesting. Making us play your game. I don't know that we're on board. And she glances back to Ranagar and the others.
Aye.
Playing with lives and playing with souls? Not a game I think we want to play.
The energy
And
in
what
the
for
room.
those unaligned?
Oh. The energy in the room changes instantly. It goes in a natural cold, like the void. If the creature could frown, you could feel it would. I do so hate it when toys speak out of turn, and he backhands the air. And I'm going to spend my fate point for you to automatically fail the saving throw. A portal opens behind Liz, who is hurled into it. I forgot to get dice. I'm going to need dice to roll damage.
Oh no.
I will say as
I'm
Liz
fine.
and Bastion are speaking out, Eros doesn't seem to agree with them.
So, a portal opens behind Liz, who's hurled into it. Beyond Liz, it is an impossible, endless blackness. Around you, a legion of ineffable monstrosities. Impossible creatures of madness that your mind struggles to make sense of. You can feel these sleeping behemoths grasp and claw hungrily in their slumber at your body. This is the beyond, where unlife lays dormant. A sea of endless nightmares, each capable of ending existence in its entirety. And then you tumble back through the portal and slam into the cold stone. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whoop.
Not good.
Did Bastion get a glimpse of what was through the portal?
That'll be 55 points of psychic damage.
Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah, briefly.
Okay, that's fine. It's fine.
Interesting.
She hits the ground after seeing all of this and lands back. She just lays there stunned for a second, glancing up at Ranagar and the others before trying to get up.
Ranagar immediately transforms into a dragon. Just an instant transformation. And as Liz hits the ground, the many-faced one seems to almost be laughing, although it's not a real laugh. I am not some sad boy goth in a cape. I would recommend not interrupting me mid-performance next time. Yes?
Liz slowly gets up and just looks at it and just stares at it. Whatever the main face seems to be. And she slowly kind of moves a hand towards her blades, but doesn't pull them out. She just watches, trying and looks around the room.
Where was I? Ah, yes! I am the primordial, the many-faced one. I am Legion, infinite and immortal, and you are all players on my grand stage. I am afraid, Bastion, that there are no neutral parties here. Oh, yes, I know who all of you are. Bastion of Collage, Investigator of Vaz, Eros, the... many titles. Many problems, much destruction in your wake. Favorite toy of Rakdos, that's a good one. Liz. Vess. Ivy.
Bastion's head snaps.
She glances over to Bastion and then glances back at the thing.
Ranagar, the unyielding, except when you yielded on your duty. How long was it? You can see Ranagar, like, tenses and is furious. And Dom, the murderer. What is it, 60? 70? And let's not forget the orphan. That's always a fun one.
At that, list tenses, and her hands kind of grip on her blades again, but she doesn't react. She's still waiting, but she looks livid.
Oh, what fun! There are no neutral parties here. If you want out, you need to join a side. Because only one of the lords of Barovia, as designed by the wonderful Lady Lysaga, are capable of ruling this place. I don't make the rules. Well, I mean, I did, but here we are. And you can feel the smugness ooze off of this monster. Now, lords, ladies, I still don't. I really need to come up with a term for non-binary. I know lords can be considered that way, but like,
there needs to be like an extra. We gotta figure something out. Gotta create one.
Perhaps it is time that this ball comes to an end. And Ranagar dives at this thing. Just leaps at it. Haldal. As Ranagar crashes in, I'm going to roll attacks for it. Okay. And tears into this thing. And it seems, as Ranagar's claws tear through it, you can see it slashes through and leaves gouges in it. This, like, shadowy tendrils oozing out of it like blood. Well done. Well, off to your castles. Prepare for the war. Sergei, House von Zarovich is yours. Strahd von Zarovich is no longer a thing. Good luck. Ravenloft will remain neutral. You can rule from your home. And 3 of the arms gesture outwards, and in bright flashes, the assembled vampires vanish to begin preparations for the great game. Now for all of you. And they're going to...
Did it flinch at all when Ranagar attacked it? No.
Nope. I'm going to have everybody roll initiative, though, please.
Okay, cool. This is good.
Yep. That tracks. Natural 20.
Oh, no.
Get a fate point.
No. Oh.
14.
So, natural 20, total of 25.
I should probably write these down.
Yeah.
Whoop. 25, you say?
Boy,
That's gonna be you first.
Boy.
What'd you say, Eros? 14?
14.
Dom. MFO. What'd you get, Lish?
7. I think she's still almost like, that was a lot all at once. Being close to the portal, the names revealed. that was a lot.
Now for all of you. Well played on Boss's part, figuring out how I made my identities immune to the illusion of this place. Using it against me. Very clever. Now come. I shall teach you a lesson, and then you can take your part in the great game. And we will start with Bastion.
Yeah. We're just gonna start off strong right off the bat. Bastion just screams at this, profanities galore at this thing as his eye crackles and the beam of energy shoots forth from it as I cast Disintegrate because fuck it.
Okay. Go ahead and roll damage.
Yeah.
It's going to... I guess I got to save.
Oh, I forgot to roll the second one.
What's the saving throw? Oh, yeah, second turn. Just half your whatever you rolled.
It's a
Perfect.
16 dex save.
Okay, well, rolled a 16 on the dice.
Well.
But you know what? It's going to opt to fail.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that's terrifying.
Oh, that's terrifying. I feel like we're gonna
All
be
right.
saying this a lot.
I'm just gonna roll this on D&D Beyond because
Sounds
it
good.
is 10d6, and I'm
Um,
not doing that.
Well, that's being rolled. The many-faced one is going to.
That is 71 damage.
71. All right. The beam slams into the creature, and you can watch as this hole in its the kind of body, if that's what you could describe it as, opens up, and you can just see inside is just this swirling blackness, and more of this shadow oozes out. You can see the creature felt that. It definitely reacted. It has been too long since I got to play myself. Now it is going to be a legendary action. And it's going to reach out with one of its arms. And as it does, its hand transforms into the mouth of an ancient bronze dragon. And it just takes a massive bite out of Ranagar.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Forgot you like picking on
I
those,
don't like-
Doctor.
Yeah. Oh goodness, hang on. Jesus Christ.
All right, I need to have Ranagar's character sheet open.
This
And
is
then,
fine. We're fine. It's all fine.
Dom,
Fine,
actually, does one of you mind playing Dom? I didn't think about this, but I've already got Ranagar to play. So,
Fair enough.
would you mind, Patrick? Would that be cool?
Yeah, I can pull
Copacetic?
up Dom's character sheet.
Thank you.
Sorry if I weren't already playing.
You're already playing too
Yeah,
many
4
characters.
different
I'm not.
characters.
You weren't even an option. And then it will be Dom's turn.
Fantastic. What do we got? What do we got here? With the oath bow, what's the sworn enemy?
It
Stuff
declares someone a
there.
sworn enemy, and they're sworn enemy for 7 days, and they deal an extra 3d6 damage when they hit them.
Okay.
If they die, it resets the next dawn. If they don't,
Yeah, I don't imagine this thing is dying anytime soon, and I'm not necessarily gonna make that choice for Jet at the moment. Yeah. I'm gonna say that just all of the attacks. I'm not entirely sure. I am not familiar with Dom in combat.
yeah, that's what they do. They just shoot.
Yeah.
They get a
fire
melee attack,
away.
and then they can use their cunning action to bonus attack with the homebrew assassin that they are. So they're just a machine gun.
All of that. What am I doing for that? Am I just rolling with?
Yep, just d20s, just their attack roll with the oath bow. If you just roll on
Cool
D&D
beans.
Beyond or whatever, but yeah.
I'll roll 2, 1 for each attack, and I will let you know
Perfect.
the outcome. That is a natural 20 and 19.
Coul. The 20 is a 4.
Plus... Huh?
The 20 is a 4. As the many-faced one hand turns, and it just
Fuck.
bends fate around it.
God damn this thing.
And the 4 will
and
miss,
then
but the 19 will hit still.
yes, that's a 19 on the die. I'm just looking for the.
Oh, it'll hit.
Oh yeah, then that's
It's like a 20.
28.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and roll damage. That'll be
All right.
sneak attack as Ranagar's beside it. So
Fantastic.
46, 3d6, and then the bow. And while you're doing
46,
that,
3D6.
it's going to take a second legendary action.
Of course it is.
Cool.
This time another hand comes out, and you watch as the hand turns into the face of Irina.
Jesus.
And then it takes a bite
Okay.
out of Ranagar.
Ugh.
Okay. It
As it
takes a
does.
bite out of red. Okay. Ugh.
Yeah, second time it's done that. As it does, Ranagar managed to get a claw up and sort of bat it away.
Oh my, that got me.
And then it is its turn. And it's going to turn. I'm going to ask everyone to make wisdom saving throws, please.
Oh boy.
As it
Is it a
waves
spell?
3 hands like it did. It is a spell.
Thank you.
Okay.
And you hear the creature. Did you get another nat 20?
Not another nat
Take
20,
another
that is
fate point.
3.
Oh boy,
That is
okay.
3.
What
the fuck is happening?
I'm gonna use a. Ooh, I don't have any fate points. I'm gonna. It's gonna bend time, and make it so Dom gets a 6 on their saving throw and vanishes. Just in the same yellow smoke, in the same yellow flash as the others, just gone.
Fuck.
Oh, it is.
That was 38 damage.
I have
for
to be
Dom
careful with this
before
creature.
they-
It uses its hands a lot because it has 6 of them, and I'm gonna knock my headphones out.
Mm-hmm. That was 38 damage for Dom, by the way.
38. Okay. As the arrow slams into the creature, it just punches clean through, and there's just a blast of this shadowy tendrils at the back, and you can see the creature's bending, and it's definitely hurt. What did everybody get for their saving throws?
Nat 20.
Okay.
Which is, what is that?
20.
That was a
Nat 20 is
wisdom?
plenty. Yeah.
Okay.
Liz?
21 total.
16.
All right. Everyone is good, including Ranagar.
Ah,
I better roll for it. Yeah. Cool. Well, that's one down. I don't know if you've noticed, but they're not even playing battle music. I'm not overly concerned.
Oh dear.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine. We're fine.
Eros.
Fine.
Hi. I don't know why that sent me.
'Cause it's a good
Eros
bit.
Eros is going to unlatch from Bastion, and quickly wiping any expression off of his face. And how far away is this creature?
Well within range. They're in
Oh,
the middle of
great.
the room, so everyone can get to them really easily.
Gonna run over and start with an attack.
All right.
Bastion
I
just
do
has a
2
look
attacks
on
then.
his face, like, please be careful.
Eros doesn't seem to notice. 2 attacks then. Flurry of blows.
Okay. Go ahead and
I'll
roll
roll
those
that.
up. It'll be Ranagar, and Ranagar is just going to absolutely go ballistic. I'm going to use a fate. Oh no, Ranagar has that action surge from Dom, and is just with all of the anger and hatred. They're not even speaking. They're just almost shaking with violent intent as they use that and just tear into this thing. So it'll be 6 attacks. That was a different one. Ranagar absolutely shreds this thing. For 56 points of damage. Just
Ouch.
tearing this thing to pieces. The dragon's claws just rend through its armor, and it bites into a shoulder and actually tears one of the arms off as the creature sort of recoils. All right. That did hurt a bit.
Eros' attacks are 15,
Miss.
22,
Hit.
25, and 21.
Hit.
So that's a total of
alright.
27.
27 damage. Would you like to describe the attack for us, please?
Eros, as he goes into fight, blank-faced, gets up there. It's one punch. It's one punch. Before, as it misses, there's like a single second pause, and then his face splits into a smile. And he just fucking goes ham. Doing pirouettes, doing a few jumps and a spin in order to kick this thing. With this grin, not missing a single attack afterwards. And then landing in front of it. Staring up at it.
Well, now. And this creature was bloodied before Ranagar attacked it. As predicted, you are all very capable. But I think you overestimate yourselves. Liz.
Liz watches all of this happening and everyone attacking. And she looks ready to move, but before she does, she just watches the thing for a minute. And she goes, "How are you able to make me change forms?"
Oh dear, your good friend Voz hasn't explained that to you? Oh, perhaps I would consider asking them the next chance you get.
There's a flash of anger as well as frustration, and then she kind of glances at the others and she runs forward. She pulls both her swords out and runs forward and makes some attacks. She is going to, if you allow me to do it this way, make her first attack and then use a superiority die to use fainting attack to get advantage on the second attack.
Yeah, I think that works that way. That sounds good.
Okay. That is... Oof, not good. She is very thrown off by all of this. And the first attack, as she runs forward, is a nat 1. And she stumbles.
Mm-hmm.
She stumbles and almost loses her balance as she runs, gets really close to this thing. And then at the last second, managed to kind of catch herself, flip around, change the attack direction, and make an attack against thing. And that is a dirty 20 to hit.
That'll just hit.
Cool, cool. That is...
Okay, 20 just hits. That's good to know.
Ooh, did not roll well on those damage dice. That is only 13 points of damage as she hits with her sword and then pulls back again, looking very out of sorts.
Is your second sword magical?
I think it is. Can't remember what we did with the other one
It
exactly.
should
I know we
be
did something with
your
it.
list, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What are your two swords?
I have the flame tongue, and I can't remember what we did to the other one because it doesn't look like it's saved in here. But I remember we had that conversation about the other blade. It doesn't.
Well,
Or
because
was
you
it just
usually
green
do
flame blade?
green flame blade on the other one.
Yeah, you just have a rapier.
That's right.
So the
Yeah,
other
it's
one,
just
the
I guess
second
the other
attack,
one-
the non-magical one, bounces off. Just
Okay,
boom.
but doesn't she make 2 attacks with the flame tongue and then one with the rapier?
2 attacks with the flame
instead
tongue,
of-
one with the rapier. Yep.
And then instead of using the bonus action to use the rapier, she used the bonus action to do parry, so it would have been both with the flame tongue, right?
Is that what you
didn't make
did?
the
Did you not
offhand
attack with
attack.
the offhand? Sorry, I missed that.
Sorry. So I did the 2 attacks with the flame tongue.
Okay.
I used parry
Just
as my bonus action to give myself advantage on the second attack, instead of using the bonus action to attack with the rapier.
Gotcha. Okay,
Ah, there you
cool.
go.
That works. All right.
Because I thought this might be hard to hit, so I thought advantage on the second attack might be
That's
better.
right. Yes, you did. That is
Love
right.
to see it.
Which is
Yes,
good, because
please.
nat 1.
So, for its legendary action, because it hasn't done any of this turn, it's going to use 3, and its whole upper face turns into the face of a bronze dragon, and it just sprays sand out everywhere. I need Constitution saving throws from everybody.
Oh God.
Does this count as a
I'm
magical
gonna-
effect?
It does not.
All right.
Okay, I didn't think
Dom's
so.
not here anymore, so
Nope.
I'm not rolling for Dom, am I?
No, you are not. Ranagar is going to use a fate point, actually. Actually, no. I'm going to have Ranagar do something cool. Ranagar is going to use a fate point instead. Don't make those saving throws. And is going to reach out with their mouth, grab the head, and twist it upwards so the blast hits the ceiling.
Fuck yes.
And not. But as you see the sand hit the
Nice.
ceiling, you watch the stone like age. It doesn't collapse or anything, but you see it rapidly change from this pristine stone to scorched and stale, as if it's been there for hundreds of years. As expected. As the head turns back, the voice changes. Ranagar? Well done. As annoying as ever. And then it'll be Eros' second turn.
Eros is going to attack twice. It's a 17 and a 16, so they both miss.
As you go to swing, the many-faced one, without even looking at one of its hands, just swings at you, and instead of attacking, you have to duck and get out of the way.
Alright, I'm just gonna duck, and then there's gonna be a moment where Eros contemplates moving out of the way, then looks back towards Bastion and Ranagar and just looks back in flurry of blows. The first attack is a nat 1 for a 9, which fails, and then the second attack is a 22
That does hit, as you are
for
aware.
11 points of damage.
Cool.
What
And
was the
your
look?
Yeah, your attacks are magical now, right?
What was the look that you gave Bastion Ranagar?
As Eros looks back, it's an expression like at first he's trying to decide like confusion if he should move or not, and then she settles on the group and just moment of recognition, and she just turns back.
With that, Bastion.
Is Ranagar still holding on to this thing's throat?
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Brilliant. I
guess it's head now because its head turned back
it's
from
head. I am going to spend a fate point to say that Bastion runs up Ranagar's tail onto his
Ooh.
back, jumps off, and goes to take a swing with the mace. And as he's coming down, bring back our friend, you bitch! And I will make an attack.
I'm going to give you
roll with-
advantage on that and
the Mace
throw an
of
extra
Disruption.
2d6 on the damage for like the landing, for like the impact of jumping and landing.
Okay.
Nice.
Hopefully this works. Yes, that is nat 1 and a 15 with the Mace of Disruption, and then I have scintillating shillelagh.
Okay, and roll the extra damage as this
so
creature
yes.
is considered undead in addition to its other types.
Ooh.
As this creature is any of the types of the creatures that it is
Beautiful.
part of its
All right,
identity.
so that is an extra 40.
So at the very least, it's a dragon and undead, and a primordial, obviously, an
Okay.
aberration.
Yep, beautiful. And let me just see the damage on the shillelagh. Bam. Well, I'm calculating that. That is 21 points of damage.
So as the mace slides down and slams, so you won't be able to hit in the head, but cracks into its shoulder, there doesn't seem to be any impact. However, Liss, your shoulder cracks and explodes from the sudden wave of impact as this energy ricochets through you, and you can take the
Ouch.
22 points of damage.
Ow. She lets out a surprised scream as that happens, and she falls back more. And I think with that hit, she definitely loses her hold on the second blade on her offhand. She is not looking real great.
I'll
You
give you a
said
fate
20
point for losing
points?
Bastion sees this, shocked, and will bonus action. Where are my bonus actions? Here we go. Bonus action healing word, just like guilty and horrified at Liss as he lands.
Many-faced one counterspells it.
Fuck.
Counterspell the healing spell? That's the worst. I hate it.
Wait a second.
This is where you need subtle.
I have
Yeah,
I
I
will
have-
counterspell it right back.
Okay. sounds
Reaction.
good.
I will counterspell it right back.
All right.
At
I feel
And
like
you
I'm in
can
a
feel
slap
you can
fight.
feel this thing just smiling. It's just absolutely.
yeah, I will do that at. Can I get a? Do I get a sense of what level they cast it at?
Make
Can I
a-
roll Arcana?
Yeah, you can roll an Arcana, absolutely.
For my Arcana, 13 plus 9.
Absolutely, it's at third level.
3rd level.
Yeah.
I'll cast it at 4th.
You just need to do it at 3rd. Counter spell counters at 3rd level or lower
Yep.
automatically. So you're good to go.
Understood. Thank you.
Aw, how sweet. I would perhaps consider saving your resources, but what do I know? And it's the many-faced one turn. And it's going to turn to Ranagar and look him square in the eyes and go, I am impressed, Dragon. You seem to have regained much of your former glory. But I'm afraid I need to be rid of you now. So I'm going to be. And they're going to cast Imprisonment. And Ranagar is going to try and counterspell it. And Ranagar is going to succeed, but then they're going to bend time and give Ranagar a nat 1.
God
Oh,
damn it! Can I
Your
use a
reaction?
fate point, or you?
I already, to do
understood.
what?
Didn't you use your fate point? Oh, no. Got another one.
Do you have a fate point left?
Got another one from the nat
I
20, right?
do.
Yeah, you did get one for the nat 20. That's right.
Yeah.
What would you like to do with it? We have a hydrate.
Yes, thank you. In that moment of time bending,
Mm-hmm. It's not bending time. It's changing reality.
or sorry, changing reality, Bastion's eye flares as a deep splitting pain shoots through his head, and Vaz's influence peeks through for a moment to stop the reality shift. Is what I would
Okay.
like to do with the fate
Yeah,
point.
you can do that.
Yep.
It's going to use its
Oh, no.
reaction to bend time.
Fuck!
I
Ah, I fucking hate this thing.
I have revealed it has a bronze dragon in it.
Ah.
that is true.
And it's
That
just
is
going
true.
to
I'm like trying to cover my
undo that.
mouth.
You can keep the
as
fate
I'm,
point,
like- okay.
but as it's just going to, the same way we watched Ranagar in the flashback, the exact same time magic.
Son of a
Just bend
bitch.
time around it.
Son of a bitch.
And you watch as Ranagar poofs into a tiny little doll version of themselves and collapses onto the floor. Now, let's see how you do without the dragon to protect you. And then they're going to action surge and use their all for one ability. Liz, how much hit points do you have left?
Not very many.
Don't forget the 14
That
you
was-
got.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that. That gives me 33.
33? Cool, you're at 0.
Oh,
God.
great.
As you watch, everything flares. Liss's face has that crack go across their face as it just drains the 33 hit points to heal itself. And as it does, the mask cracks and their face contorts and they're no longer Liss. As Ivy's face appears for a brief moment, Bastion,
Oh,
before
no.
they slam onto the ground.
Ouch.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be Eros' turn.
Eros is going to see everything it's doing, see it debilitate Ranagar and then drain Liss. Is going to attack it again. For a 23 and a 26.
Those will both hit.
For a total of 15 points. And then once again, just debating on whether or not to attack or to run, and deciding there's not much to lose here, is going to do Flurry of Blows, which are 2 15s. So they both miss.
So as you take these two first swings, and you can feel every hit, you just dent the plate like it's paper. It's not real. This isn't. Its form, its shape, is what gives it its durability.
But I'm going to use a fate point.
Okay.
And I want to use that fate point as Ranagar goes down, as it drains the literal life from Liss to heal itself and Eros. Those are Eros' friends. Fuck that. And Eros is going to, seeing that it's sort of made of paper, is going to take her bare hands and just rip it apart down the middle.
Okay, I'll give you 2 attacks on that. I'll give you the 2 misses as hits.
Thank you. And I'll roll
As you
that.
tear it open, the creature. Okay, that was unpleasant. And it's had its turn. It hasn't used its reaction though, so it will use its reaction after you do that. Go ahead and tell me the damage.
21.
21, perfect. I need you to make a charisma saving throw as a portal appears behind you and tries to drag you into it. The same thing that happened to Liz.
Does this count as a spell or magical effect?
It is definitely a magical effect.
Awesome. 22.
22. Fails.
Jesus fucking Christ, are you
And you
serious?
two are yoinked through into the abyss.
Who's jerked through?
Eros.
Arrows?
Not the kind of jerking Eros is into, but here we are.
I
I have to bring a little light to the situation. Oh, I rolled.
Oh,
okay.
God.
I rolled
Swear
very
to
poorly.
God, Andrew.
37,
I will say,
37 points
speaking
of psychic damage as you tumble through, fall back out, and then land on your feet. Having seen what monsters await in the beyond.
as some flavor, as Eros is being dragged in, Eros is going to look to the only remaining member of Bastion with a look of fear, terror as he's dragged
Bastion
through
just
before
looks
he's
horrified and tries to
back.
reach out and just can't.
large.
So, have we learned our lesson yet? Or do we need to continue? And you can hear their voice fluctuates. You can almost recognize some of the voices. You hear Irina briefly, and then other voices that you heard in the party, but you're not 100% sure of.
Liz is just out on the floor, right?
Yeah,
Unconscious?
Ivy is
Yeah.
out.
Ivy, that's right.
Bastion looks horrified around at everyone. Just Ivy on the Ranagar in the doll form, Eros who is shocked at going through a Cthulhu eldritch dimension, and Ivy, and just utterly defeated. I assume we're still in initiative unless we want to.
If you guys want to step out of initiative for this and we're going to move into kind of a cinematic moment here, given that there's only 2 members up. I will have Ivy make a death save, please.
Okay.
And you two can take your turn simultaneously. We'll just have you two and then the creature go at the same time.
Wait to see how that goes. That well, huh? All right.
Oh, sorry, I roll those. That's a secret.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
Never mind.
How many is it used? Oh, it's used all 3. Okay. I was going to feel like you get a nat 1 on it, but I already used the nat 1 earlier.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Bastion looks from Eros to Ivy, back to Eros with this heartbroken look, and rushes over to Ivy. And is just sobbing. Not again, please, not. I can't.
No, you
and
cannot.
Will cast Cure Wounds.
All right.
They're just going to return their attention back to the thing as Bastion runs off. And after that, watching Bastion for a moment over Ivy. Just resignation. And then he's going to attack again.
Very
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
24 for the first one.
God
That
damn
hits.
it, Jax.
And a nat 1 for the second.
nat ones tonight. Cool.
Yeah, not
You
like
know what?
that.
Ranagar is going to use a fate point to make that a nat 20 because they still have fate points, and they can still they can still spend them even if their character is not present or like active.
Impressive.
Correct.
But 23 plus 12. That's 35 total.
So as you just smash into this thing, Ivy takes all the damage. As you just feel, as you just hear bones crack in rib cages.
How many points of damage was that,
It was
Bex?
33 total.
35 total.
Oh
35
yeah,
total.
I mean the cure wounds does nothing.
Wow. They just get knocked back out again.
Yeah.
Very well.
So she like starts to come to and then goes right back out again.
Yep.
Mm. Bastion cries out, "Eros, please!"
Eros, make a wisdom save for me, please. It is a spell, as two of their hands coalesce together and they cast a spell.
17.
Nope. You did so enjoy this last time. And Eros is formed into a frog.
He somehow seems happier.
You know, I was gonna spend a fate point to like make that not happen, but after you said that, I'm not going to.
Okay, Bastion. So what do you say? Are we done now?
There was a moment as Eros charged forward that Bastion flashed back to the last time that he was standing over Ivy's dying body. And like the slightest nod of his head, just like barely imperceptible or barely perceptible to anyone.
Oh,
As his
no.
shoulders slump and he prepares another cure wounds.
Oh, my friend, that is not nearly good enough. I have a price for my mercy. Something that you were not afforded by your friend, I might add. I will take what they gave you.
What?
I need that. And you don't want it. Be sure to ask them next time you see them about that.
I assume that they're referring to the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Looks to Eros. Fuck you. Not you. No, Andrew. Not Eros. 100% the DM.
Eros croaks.
Looks to Rhaegar and back to Ivy. Take it.
Very good. And the hand shoots out, extends, grabs it roughly, yanks it out, and comes back.
And
just as it does, you hear a voice in your head go, no, that's the right choice. And then you lose. Then the voice is gone.
Yeah.
Like it's cut off as the connection is broken.
Yeah.
Ah. Sweet revenge. I am so excited. Today has been a good day. Yes, your friends. And they wave their hand, and Eros is suddenly on the floor in a frog shape. Lys's wounds suddenly heal, or Ivy's wounds suddenly heal. And Ivy, you suddenly blink back to consciousness. Anyway.
Ribbit.
And they just bend over and pick up the little plushy Rhaegar and just toss it over to you. I can't have that one running around right now. They are problematic at best. All right.
Yeah, Bastion's just like blood pouring from the empty eye socket.
Well,
Are
then,
things
is
still here,
Ivy-
yes?
I do. And then it disappears.
As Ivy slowly comes to, there's like, she just kind of stares straight ahead for a minute as all of these memories come rushing back. And there's this flash of like fear and agony and sadness, and just it all hits at once. And she just sits there kind of staring at the ceiling.
Bastion
And then
like props Ivy up and just holds her. Just tears streaming out of one eye, blood pouring out of the other. Just sobbing.
She sits there for a minute as she's slowly coming back from these memories, and she kind of looks around the room like it's been a while since she's been here almost. And she kind of looks over at Bastion. And there's kind of an unreadable expression on her face for a minute. And after she sits there, kind of taking everything in, she slowly reaches out and hugs Bastion.
Yeah, and just like shaking and just not letting go.
As this happens around you, you watch as the illusion completely fades, and this room goes from this beautiful ballroom to this dilapidated, ruined chapel. And you get the sense that all of Ravenloft is now as it was when this copy was made, when Strahd was still Strahd von Zarovich, the evil vampire. And Dom and Strahd are both still missing. I will say that, Gray, you did recognize the spell that was cast, Scatter, which means they are probably somewhere within 500 meters.
And that was cast on both Dom and Strahd, or
Yep. Strahd was hit when all
Okay.
the vampires Lord were hit. And then
Got you.
Dom, that was the spell that you all resisted, and Dom failed.
Got you.
I don't think we described Ivy.
No. And
she-
so
We
did
as Bastion sort of lets go of this hug for a moment, and Ivy leans back, Eros, you get a glimpse of this being, and would you please describe Ivy to us?
So Ivy is a spring eladrin. She has bright blue eyes, green, kind of spring green hair, and skin that's kind of some mixture between kind of like the natural skin tones that we think of, with a hint of kind of a bluish color to it. And she has big round glasses, and is dressed in a mixture of fey-looking attire, but has there's also, oh gosh, I'm trying to think how to describe this. There's a nice looking uniform, like a palace guard, but there's also a lot of like hints and like additions to it that hint at the Fey design. And she
is
has
it
like
similar-
flowers kind of braided back in her hair. Okay, sorry, what was that?
No, I was gonna say, is it similar to Bastion's uniform?
Storyteller.
Sort of. It's got like the hints of it, but it's much finer and definitely of a different regiment. But it has that hint of collage to it.
Got you. Sorry to interrupt.
No. It's a good note.
Yeah, spring eladrin.
Oh. Eros is gonna walk over and
Yeah, Bastion has sort of, just as Ivy is able to sit up on her own at the moment, Bastion's just sort of like fully is going into shock. Is still bleeding from you.
Eros is gonna give both of them. Well, Bastion takes damage from the eye being torn out.
Do you want Astra to
Storytelling.
take damage?
Yeah.
Get a fate point, and Yeah, okay. 19.
Negate
19.
6 of that for a healing word.
Awesome.
Eros comes by.
Dom and Strahd are probably around. They're not. They're still here.
You two rest. I can get around faster. I'll go look.
Right. Thank you.
Ivy just kind of nods to Eros, and she looks like she's still kind of in shock, like she's between two places right now, as all these memories have come back.
Eros will dip his head and then head off to start looking.
As Eros heads back into the hallway, it's no longer this long, majestic hall. It is a dank, dark, and depressing sight with rusted suits of armor along its length. The stonework, once polished, has corroded and cracked, and none of the lanterns are lit. You have dark vision as a satyr?
No.
It is pitch
Oh,
black.
wait, no. Eros does have dark vision now.
Eros does have dark vision now. That is correct.
Yes.
Good memory. So yes.
Are the paintings still there, or was...
Nope.
Or were they included in the
Everything,
illusion?
they were in the illusion. Everything is gone. This looks, at least to what you suspect, how Ravenloft looked during Strahd's reign, during the mists and what would be Curse of Strahd.
Eros is now upset his paintings are gone. As she just ducks around, starts looking. She's moving at nearly max speed, but just slow enough to actually be able to notice if someone's there.
Okay, so as
Looking
you
for
dash
any
down this
friendly
hallway, what's going through Eros's mind right now?
Oh, Eros is feeling a lot. Eros is feeling scared. Eros is very confused as to what was and was not included in that illusion. Eros is scared of that primordial, its first primordial, that she's seen, and it took out Ranagar and the rest of the team with ease. And there's some betrayal that Eros is feeling. Eros is feeling like they've been a little bit let down. That's about it.
So as you dash down this hallway, through the doors into the main entrance hall, there's the grand staircase to your right. There's the door to your, that would be left at an angle. And then there's the two doors also left, one that both have spiral staircases, one down, one up.
Staircase up first.
The spiral or the grand staircase?
Grand staircase.
All right. As you dash up that, we're going to go back to Bastion and Ivy. As these two sit in this ruined chapel to Pelor that has rents and claws and smashes to it. It has been clearly destroyed very deliberately. This duplicate of the Dark Ravenloft. I'm sorry, I need to turn on my AC. It's getting too hot. And in this dank place, what is going through your mind, Bastion, as you look down on Ivy? Someone returned to you from death, literally.
Like the most twisted sense of relief and happiness and horror. It's very hard to describe. There are a multitude of emotions that are currently running through his head, across his face. And there are no words for a very long moment
Ivy's still kind of out of it and looking confused, and still kind of this haunted look in her eyes as all of the memories from right before she died come rushing back. She looks again over at Bastion, and again there's kind of an unreadable expression for a moment. And then she just kind of reaches out a hand softly and just kind of gently takes his face in her hand. I don't know. I don't know. I don't really understand anything since we got here.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
She sits there for a moment, and as she watches him, there's just the slightest twinge of betrayal in her face, and then it softens. And as things, the processing and like the memories kind of slow down, her eyes well up with tears, and from behind the glasses, they just start streaming down her face, and she goes, "As long as we're together, we're safe." And her voice cracks just a bit at the end.
I knew, and I didn't want to give myself hope. I'm sorry. And he says that a couple more times. Just kind of quietly to himself. But definitely directed to you. And is just... And finally meets your gaze. Like, has sort of been looking down and away this entire time.
Bastion, could you, as you're looking at Liz, or sorry, Ivy, God.
Ivy.
You know what? At least I'm consistent. I screw up gender and I screw up names. Like, it's just a go-to for me.
There you go.
As you're looking at Ivy, would you be willing to describe, well, could you please describe kind of the emotions that are brought up from your past and what Ivy means to you?
Yeah. Ivy. Do you want me to describe who Ivy was?
Yeah, please.
Sebastian?
Yeah, I think that'd be.
Ivy being Bastion's adopted, clearly, older sister. Being the one who really raised him and was definitely a more of a motherly figure in his life, although he always referred to her as his older sister. And having watched her die this horrible death and not having had time to save her, and in a moment where he had to make a horrible choice and failed anyway. Seeing her here again brings up intense emotions of guilt, but also something that he hasn't felt in a long time, which is hope. And he's not entirely sure where it's coming from. This thing that he never thought, like, couldn't have even imagined was possible. having her come back into his life in this weird twist of fate, in this very bizarre way, is really trying to wrap his head around everything. But there is this undercurrent of just, again, just relief and joy that she's here, alive. Alive, quote unquote. Yeah. It's just, there's so much to tell you. There's so much. I don't know how much you already know. I'm sure you know everything that's happened here, but... And he kind of, like, feels his face and the age that has passed in the 20 years that, 20 odd years that she's been gone. It's been a long time for me.
She sits there for a moment as Bastion starts talking, and her face softens a bit. And she reaches down and pulls out a handkerchief and just very gently cleans the blood off his face. And then she kind of reaches up as she's sitting up, and I'm guessing he's sitting next to her. And just kind of takes his head in her hand and just kind of gently like pulls him into a hug and just kind of like puts his head on her shoulder and just hugs him, just very, very gently.
He'll just, yeah. Sorry, no, you continue.
It has been a very long time for both of us. You've changed, Bastion.
And he just kind of like rests his forehead on her shoulder, and there's this wince of shame that comes across his face and is gone in a moment. And he just doesn't say it.
Ivy just sits there for a minute, just kind of very much in a motherly or like a sisterly fashion, just kind of gently, kind of just in a comforting way, just kind of like rubbing his back and just kind of like letting him process the emotions as she continues to look around the room, and also kind of process everything. How did you get here?
Fell through eternity. I think Foz flicked me in the head and I died. Imagine that's what happens when a god flicks you in the head.
That's probably a fair assessment.
And he's like the tears are breaking, and genuinely starts laughing a bit. Oh boy.
You're still in Kilaj after everything. How did you end up coming from Kilaj to here?
As Bastion ponders that question,
Yeah.
we're going to switch over to Eros. Eros, as you ascend the stairs, you reach the first landing onto the second floor, and the stairs continue spiraling upwards. But very quickly it is apparent that that Ravenloft has changed. It is not the same layout that it was. At the same time, you hear this loud squeaking, and several giant bats descend from the ceiling at you, as it seems that this place is maybe inhabited by creatures that were present when the copy was made.
Of course it is. Oh, goodness.
Would you please roll me initiative, Eros?
Sure.
Wh-
21.
21 and 10. I got a 2, so you're going to go twice.
Cool. Ow. Just stabbed myself.
There are bats attacking, yes?
Yes, 3 giant bats.
Of
boy.
fucking course there are. Eros is going to, as an action, cast Sword Burst.
Oh, okay, cool. Is those saving throws for me?
Yes.
A 1, or 7, a 3, and a 16.
Cool. All but the 16 fail for 1 point of slashing damage each.
Okay.
Thank you, spell.
This blast of swords erupts outwards. How did you only do 1 point? You're at 5th level. You get 2.
Thank you.
Your cantrip, yeah.
God,
Cantrips are based on your level, not caster level.
cool, so that's 10.
That's much better. A 9 and a
That
1
is
is
a
much
lot
better than.
better.
So as this sword burst explodes, why can't I speak? These like sharp blades tear through these bats, clipping their wings, and you can see the bats sort of sputtering and turning as they are bloodied already.
Ooh. And then they're like right up on him.
Yeah, they're coming down at you.
He's tired. He's just gonna do the unarmed strike slap fight at these bats.
Just like smacking them out of the air, literally.
Yeah, literally.
Just bitch slaps one of them like wham, to the ground.
Basically. So the first is a 24.
That hits.
Second's an 18.
Hits.
So that's a total of 24 points
Okay.
of bludgeoning damage.
So as you smack 2 of these bats, the first bat you hit backhand, it slams into the wall and slides down it before disappearing. And then the second bat, you smack it downwards and it tumbles and slams into the stairs. And then it too disappears. The third one you hit and it kind of manages to back off and absorb some of the impact, but it's barely hanging on and starts to just fly away as it just realizes that this is not a meal worth engaging.
Yeah, so just gonna wave. He feels less bad now that the bats disappear, knowing that Ranagar won't be upset. But it's the last one. She goes. He waves that. She weighs her options. Like, I don't know what's gonna be in here, but I don't want people fighting alone. They're gonna be. Arrow's talking about. All right, the 2 down there are going to be kind of useless at the moment. Don't want Dom or Strahd fighting these things. Well, all right. And then Eris, seemingly satisfied with the conclusion they've come to on their own, is going to keep going.
Okay. Are they going to step out into the hallway or are they going to continue going up the stairs?
Hallway first, going to go 4x4 now.
So entering the hallway, they kind of step out. It's about 10 feet, and then they have a Y intersection. They can go straight ahead or left. One thing they do recognize is it looks like at least part of the room layout is the same. To your left, you can see a set of double doors that led into the audience hall, and then a single door that would have been, I believe, Strahd's. Yes, Strahd's an office.
Does Arrow see any sign of anyone having been around?
No, I don't see any movement. Everything is dusty and. Make a perception check for me, there, please.
Okay. That's going to be a 16.
16. You think you can just make out muffled sounds and chains rattling. Very faintly from ahead. Inside the throne room. You think. You're not sure.
On one hand, I could have been teleported and trapped. On the other hand, I really don't think that would have happened. And then Eros is gonna just... I hate decisions. And is going to head into the office first.
Okay. As the
Just
door
think free will and it's a problem.
Dusty scrolls and tomes line the walls of this room. More scrolls and books lie scattered on the floor around 4 heavy wooden chests. Sorry, my audio just changed suddenly. The only unobstructed floor space is directly in front of the doors on the east and west walls. In the center of this clutter stands a great black desk.
No one inside.
A figure crouches atop a
never
tall
mind.
stool, scratching on a seemingly endless scroll of paper with dry quill. Nearby, a tassel rope hangs from a hole in the ceiling. This being is an old human. They're mostly bald, except for a bit of tuft on the top, and then long hair on the sides, sideburns, and then a single up to a mustache with a clean-shaven chin, or at least a scraggly chin from age. And you can see and there's something about them, like they're almost a husk. And they barely even notice your entrance as they're just scratching away.
Eros doesn't recognize them, right?
No.
Are there other doors in the room?
Yep. There's another set of doors on the opposite wall. And then, yeah.
Eros is gonna try to stealth by.
Okay, make a stealth check for me.
Oh. Not horrible at it. 26.
Yeah. Eros managed to slip by this person without them even looking up from the paper.
Oh,
They just mindlessly continue.
I'm gonna continue on, but stealthed now.
Okay. That door on the other side opens to a small spiral staircase. And based on the positioning is likely the spiral staircase, the smaller one that was opposite the main staircase.
Okay. Is that all that's here?
Correct, yes.
Stealthing. Right back the other way.
No problems. They don't even look up at you. For a brief second, you hear the quill stop, and then the rustling of paper, and they pull out a new page, and they continue writing.
Right. And there was the other path that Eros thought they heard something done, right?
Yeah, to the left, the double doors that would lead into
Yes.
the throne room if this is set up the same way.
Eros will head down that way.
All right.
Stealthing.
The door is locked as you go to.
Now I really want to find Dom. Eros decides it's not worth trying to hit it open. Too much effort. They are
You can
tired.
hear something moving around inside. Some like jostling, shaking, the sound of chains.
Well, it's locked, so hopefully they can't get out. Hello? Does the murmur sound familiar?
Make a perception check.
I need that quoted. Does the mrrr sound familiar?
Oh, I almost rolled persuasion. That is not what I'm trying to do. It's a 14.
I mean, it's a more masculine voice.
Do you monologue?
I love that question so much. Oh my god.
Hello, Strahd. Eros will proceed to try to break the door off the hinges now.
Go ahead and make me a strength check. Or athletics.
Okay, athletics. 24.
The doors splinter open. One of the doors actually breaks off the frame and scatters to the wind as the other one slams into the wall, and the sound just echoes everywhere. And you can hear Strahd, and looking in, seated on this dirty, dusty, worn-down throne is Strahd, wrapped up in chains, with a chain that's actually bound into their mouth, as this whole thing is like they're chained top to bottom. More like a mummy than
Kinky. And Eros is going to head forward and try to, like, figure out how to get these chains off of him.
As Eros grabs onto the chains try to grab onto Eros. I need you to make a
Chains
strength
are a
saving throw,
bitch.
please. They sure are.
Oh no.
Spell and
Eh.
magical effect?
Not in this case. Nope.
I didn't think so.
I mean, they are magical, but not what they're doing isn't. What they're doing is very
18.
physical. The chains wrap around, and you manage to just kind of break free, and they sort of fall limp when you do. And Strahd's just like, mm-hmm. And you can barely see their eyes as they're clearly like, okay, good job.
It's not my first rodeo with these things. Eros will kick the chains. You got in the situation. You get to hear me talk now. As Eros. Eros is going to. What does Eros have? Nothing useful. Great. Gonna have to figure out if there are crowbars here.
And so, do you have a crowbar, did you say?
That's that Eros is gonna have to figure out if there are crowbars here.
Oh, so Strahd kind of, and they motion to their belt where they have two swords, one that you recognize and one that you don't.
Yeah. Is he gesturing to one over the other?
Yeah, not the dancing sword, the other one, the one that you haven't seen before.
Cool. Eros will grab that one. Alright.
As you do and pull it out, the blade has a purple hue to it.
Snazzy. Eros will try to use that as leverage instead of...
Hurt them. It cuts through like butter as the Vorpal sword just slices the chains. Strahd like leaps out of it and kind of rolls and is like, okay, thank you very much, my friend. That was unpleasant. And you can see the chains were so tight that they have red marks everywhere. Normally this would be a sign of a good time, but not really my thing.
Fortunate for you. And Eros will hand back
Very.
the sword.
Thank you very much. And they return the sword to its place on their belt. Well, that was very unpleasant. How are the others?
Rengar is a puppet. Bastion
Good.
has found someone. That is all. And Dom is still missing.
Good. Very good.
Not really, but we should find Dom. And
Yes.
anyone else who might be around.
We need to
They
be
could have
careful.
gone far,
This
which is
is,
a problem.
well, this is my home. And it is not safe.
Yeah, your bats are hostile.
Everything is.
That's impressive. Bats aren't hostile.
I know. Takes a lot of training, honestly, to get them that way.
They attack you too.
It's not, well, I mean, look at me. They're like gesturing down at their not vampire form, like, probably.
Do you smell different or look different? Like, well, much different.
My heart beats? I'm sure they can smell blood flowing through my veins. I certainly still can. I still have some of the things. It's a whole bit.
Well,
Should we head back to the others? I'm not sure leaving them alone is safe. I don't know what other horrors... Well, I know what horrors await us here. I don't know what horrors our new friend may have placed in our path as well.
true. We need to find them, and if they're ready to go, we go find them. But if not, we are going back to find them ourselves.
I agree. That seems like the best plan.
Right.
Okay. And Strahd will draw their Vorpal sword and their dancing sword. The dancing sword will fly up beside them, and their shield will fly off their back. And they're wearing their dress clothes, but they'd had the weapons with them, just like everybody else was armed at the wall.
Smart.
Also, do you know of an old man in your study?
Yes, he was my accountant. Is he
Is
here?
he hostile? Oh yeah, he's here.
I don't think so. He was one of the soulless.
I think
He
he's
just sort
still
of-
record keeping.
Well, perhaps best to just leave him.
I thought so too.
I'm not really sure what to do with him.
That's fair. He seems content, so.
He wasn't in the duplicate, so I'm not sure he's real, if you understand.
I think I follow.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Yes, let's. And as those two lead and head back down the stairs towards the chapel, we're going to take our break for the evening.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Real quick before we take our break, we're going to have our wonderful players do their shout-outs. And then, please, while you're on break, go ahead and follow them. I'll post their socials, which, of course, I still didn't put Blondie's link tree if you want to toss that in there, Blondie. And while we're doing that, start at the bottom. Sorry, Vex. Just because I already asked Blondie to do something. If you want to do your shout-outs, please.
No, it's entirely fair. I'm Vex. You can find me on TikTok at Dancing with the Fae Court. You can find me on Instagram at Dancing with the Fairy, F-A-E-R-I-E. And I'll be releasing merch soon, if any of you know anything about me. So, there's that. And I'm here. Come say hi.
Nice. Excellent, excellent. Patrick.
Just Patrick today.
Yeah, just the one.
Hi, everybody. I am Patrick Keefe, otherwise known as That Gray Gentleman, everywhere on the internet. You can find me at my link tree in the chat, primarily on TikTok and on Instagram as far as content goes. You can find me here every Sunday for Houses of Barovia. You can find me over at The Writer's Room 7th Sea, which is a podcast where we play the game 7th Sea, which is another tabletop RPG. It is a sweeping pirate adventure. And that is wherever podcasts are found. And you can also find me this September playing D&D live at Gen Con and also acting under the direction of Peter Adkison based on a game that Satine Phoenix is also going to be playing live at Gen Con.
And Blondie.
I'm that one blonde nerd on TikTok and ADH Adventures right here on Twitch, where you can find us Monday for God's War Leia, run by Halfling Wizard. Tuesday, Turning Point, run by me. If you want to see me DM.
They're pretty all right.
It's awesome. Come on. We have a ton of fun. We have a mimic folk. That's fun and terrifying. You can find me and Andrew on Wednesdays for Secrets of the Alchemist.
Where I play the very wonderful Talay. I lost the accent there. I didn't.
I've got so many in my head right now from playing 4 characters.
I'm all over the place.
And Delirium Montague playing alongside Talay. Yeah, for lots of mysteries and stuff. I also train about Agents of the Circle every other Friday, including this Friday, run by Circle DM, and Saturday afternoons with Heroes Arc, which all of them are fantastic shows. Come check us out. I think that's mostly it. Of course, you can find me here Sundays.
Excellent. And I, of course, am your teller of tales. I am on Twitch and TikTok at the Tavern of Tales. Obviously, you're here watching. If you are interested in keeping up with all the things that we do here, including getting access to things like the Many-Faced One stat block, Patreon is coming soon. It was supposed to be set up for this month. Unfortunately, just because of some background stuff, it's not. I will try to get it set up this week, but if it's not, it'll be up for September. And maybe we hold off on giving out the Many-Faced One stat block. However, all of the homebrew in this game, all of the subclasses, all of the redone classes, Way of Mercy Monk, Assassin, whatever the fuck Liss is, all of the monsters, Count Strahd, both versions, all of that stuff will be on Patreon, along with guides for DMs and players. So if you like the way we DM and the way we play and you want to learn more about how we do our process, that's the way to do it, as well as some of those will also be available on YouTube. In addition, we'll have interviews with the cast and discussions, and probably do something similar to Talks Machina, where after each episode we'll have a couple of the cast sit down and do some interviews, and we can discuss what happened and our feelings on it and what went into it and all that good stuff. So Patreon, I'm going to at least have the, tiers set up this week at the very least, and then start pumping out content throughout the month. Well, at the very least, the homebrew will be available, and then we'll start pumping out the content come September. Other than that, as we said, our merch store, the Tavern of Sales.com, will be hopefully tomorrow up with all of the merch that I mentioned at the beginning. So if you're interested in some Houses of Barovia / Tavern of Tales merch, you should check that out. Again, Discord link, best place. That's where we'll announce all the things we do. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back in a bit after our break. See you guys real soon. Wonderful patrons, thank you so much for allowing us to take our break and being patient with us as we got ourselves fresh food and fresh water and bother Byrus a fair bit. I hope all of you made sure to do the same. They deserve it. So, when we last left the party, things had taken a turn for the worst. The apparent villain of our tale, the many-faced one, a powerful primordial, revealed themselves, announced the great game, where basically if you want out of Barovia, you have to be on the winning house, either by subjugating or destroying the others. And then, in rage, based on Bastion's history with the primordials, and Ranagar's history with the primordials, and also this primordial being a smug piece of shit, the party... It's true and you know it. It's an accurate description of the many-faced one. You think Vaz is bad. And the party, well, managed to do good hits on it. Were systematically taken apart one by one, until in the end only Bastion still stood. And in order to... Eros was a frog. That counts as being out of the fight. Getting true polymorphed into a frog, and the only reason you're not still a frog is that the bad guy dropped the spell, counts as being out of the fight.
I was so tempted to, as a frog, try to kick the thing.
Ivy takes another point of damage and automatically fails the death save because the frog kicked the front door.
Liss seemed to... one of the primordial's many powers, it used time magic. Parts of its body would turn into bronze dragons and Irina, which was a disturbing sight. It was able to bend reality around it and modify dice rolls, and also transfer damage to Liss, who, when knocked unconscious, and also drained health from Liss, which when happened, they turned into Ivy, who, as we learned, was the maternal older sister that raised Bastion. And that is where we return. Oh, and the illusion on Ravenloft fell, and now it looks like the way it did before, during the time of Strahd and the Mists and Curse of Strahd, for those who have played that module. And so, we return to the chapel. Ranagar is a doll by the imprisonment spell, and Dom is missing. Eros went looking for Dom and found Strahd, rescued them, and they are returning to the party to regroup, as this Ravenloft is not safe, to say the least. However, we return into the chapel. This massive, what was once a majestic room, is a ruin. Broken, shattered, stained glass windows, moss and mold in corners, and just a dankness to the whole air. Broken pews line the walls, and you can see damage and deliberate tearing from claws and fists, as very likely Strahd many, many years ago tore this place apart. And as we enter this scene, Bastion and Ivy, where are you?
I think we have... if there are any pews in the temple still even remotely intact.
There's one that was lying against the wall that you sort of had to pop down, but it's you could definitely sit on it. It would support weight still. Yeah. Whatever this wood is made of, it's very durable.
I think we probably moved over to there at this point. In that question that Ivy had asked, still sort of...
Would you, Ivy, mind reiterating that question for us, please?
Yeah, let me see if I can remember that question. Hang on. Loading. Yeah, she asked Bastion what happened and if he stayed in Collage and how he got here.
There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah. I think she realized that right after she asked it. She's like, well, okay.
Yeah, Bastion's face, like, as he was sort of like chuckling during their conversation, as it lightened up a little bit, and it just completely fell. And it was just like, right. What, do you want the long version, the short version, the medium version? What do you want to know?
Well, this place doesn't seem very safe, so I think we should probably get the short version for now, and we'll talk more later.
After
1 sec, you guys carry on.
after everything that happened with you in Lothric, watching you die, Ivy, we saw a lot of loss in Kilaj, and that I could always count on you two to be there. And when that I couldn't do it anymore. That was the last straw. I walked back into the city. I gave them my badge, packed what little I could, and I left.
You left right after.
Within the day. Yeah.
Where did you go? I mean, meeting Buzz is not something that is done all the time. She sits there for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah, it takes him a while. And he sort of like looks at her. I wandered into the desert and I just started walking. I didn't have a destination in mind. I didn't know where to go. I just sort of in this fugue state, and I just started walking. And I walked for days, maybe a week. I lost track of time. And eventually I ran out of food and water, or I stopped drinking and eating. I don't really remember. And eventually I just gave in to the heat and the wind and the sand. And then Boz appeared, as they do when someone dies. And took an interest. I told them what I wanted. To know everything. To break the primordials. And we realized we had a common interest. Long story short, 20 years we worked. I worked for them, learning everything that I could, but also being their eye. Just points to the empty socket that's covered with like a torn off piece of his shirt that he's just sort of wrapped around his head to stem the bleeding in any way that's already like soaked in blood. I was their eye in the world. Their watcher, as they called me. And eventually they needed someone to look into this shadow Barovia, whatever they call it. And he said yes, sure, why not? And they're like, cool, you have to die to get there, so... And then I fell through the plains. Literally. And landed in a crater. Or I created the crater here. Bones shattered. Which are... And he gestures to Ranagar and the currently missing rest of the party. Friends found me and brought me back up, standing. I've been with them for 5 days? Nearly a week. It's been a long
As Bastion's telling this story, Ivy's trying to maintain a neutral expression and has kind of a soft smile as she watches him. And when he speaks about venturing into the desert, her face takes on a much more serious expression, and a sad one. And when he mentions Vaz stepping in and working with Vaz, face becomes somewhat unreadable. And when he explains how he was sent here, she kind of lets out like a little, it's not a laugh, she's not entertained, but just kind of a sigh.
Scoff.
Yeah. Well, that's, it's not exactly... She kind of pauses a minute. It's not exactly the life I was hoping for yet. And she sits there for a minute. And she looks over around the room. And there's a flash of sadness and then defeat on her face. And she kind of sits back a bit. She goes, I failed you. I failed you and Lothric. And I think I failed many others. And she kind of sits there for a minute as she sighs and kind of looks down.
Maybe I failed you. I failed both of you.
You wouldn't have needed to heal us. We'd done better on a mission.
If we had been together. If we had just been together, we would have been fine.
It wasn't supposed to be that hard of a mission. It was supposed to be... She gets really quiet as she looks down again. These memories that have long been stored in the back of her mind are pulled forward again. And she just kind of shakes her head, and she kind of takes her glasses and kind of straightens them a bit and plays with them. Or putting her hands back down in her lap.
I sort of been putting the pieces together for a little bit now, and I know for you, and he's just kind of confused because when he says you, he's referring to Ivy, but he's also referring to Liss and Vess. And he's like, I know memories can be weird. What was the mission?
She sits there for a minute. And she looks thoughtful, like she's trying to go back through and remember. There was something very important we were sent to protect. Unfortunately, we failed. Obviously. I think it may have some connection to this place.
See Bastion reach for his notebook. And then just, nope, not right now. Store that away for later. There's a lot of failure that day. Happy to see you again. Sort of never thought that would happen. But how? Do you know? Do you know how any of this works?
She sits there for a moment and she kind of puts her head in her hand. Actually going to put on, like a costume.
Hey.
And she looks thoughtful as she's putting pieces together, and she goes, well, when we got there to figure out what we were supposed to be guarding, it was... She sits there for a minute like she's trying to remember what it was called. It was a very powerful artifact, an hourglass, one of the ones that bronze dragons used to create time.
Like, exactly the sort of thing you'd need to create time in an alternate dimension that didn't have it.
And as the pieces are coming together, the realization keeps kind of dawning on her.
Yeah, Bastion's eye goes wide. I'm gonna have to use the singular of eye now. Ah!
Maybe you just have to start wearing an eye patch to remind you.
There you go.
Actually, hang on.
Wait a second.
Find out next stream if I do.
But she kind of sits around and looks around the place and thinks back through what the many-faced one said. And her face just falls, and she puts it back in her hands and she goes, that failure may be the reason this place was allowed to exist.
Ivy, do you know why you and Lothric were guarding it? Was there someone who requested?
Well, we were sent a contingency from the Royal Guard was sent to guard it until the time dragons could come. Unfortunately, they did not get there in time. We were
ironic.
Bastion, kind of like a half laugh.
And then Bastion, you remember that time magic doesn't work on primordials or their servants.
Of course. Sorry.
We're severely outnumbered and overpowered by... She kind of sits there for a minute and looks thoughtful. By a number of beings. One of them... Some of them I think are here. Wait. And the memory comes back. I remember now. Matron Morveau was there.
And Ivy, you get a brief flash of Matron Morveau literally tearing Lothric's arm off.
She kind of sits there and shakes her head, and then there's a flash of anger. She was there. It was her who killed Lothric. or dealt him the final blow. We were possibly outnumbered. I suppose outnumbered isn't quite the right word. It was overpowered by a number of creatures and persons of great power.
Bastion's face is gone. Very cold. Ivy, you haven't seen this before. You have never seen Bastion make this face. There's just no emotion.
She glances over and sees that expression, and there's definitely a look of concern. And she sits and stares through the room, but not at anything in it. There were 3 hunters and a purple-skinned tiefling. And they were with Matron Morvo.
The purple-skinned tiefling is... Remind me, because we figured that out, right?
Yeah, Lady Vorviscan. She's from House
Lady
Morva.
Vorviscan, thank you.
And there was one more person, Ivy. And through the haze, as the memory comes back to you, the biggest threat was the magic that this witch, literally flying around in a cauldron above, rained down on the group. And you get the vague recollection of Lady Lysaga, when she was once Baba Lysaga, the Witch of Barovia, before this place. The one who apparently made the deal with the many-faced one.
She sits there for a minute, still putting the pieces together in the memories. The worst of all of it was, yes, it was Lady Lysaga? Lady Lysaga? She devastated us. It was a massacre.
Bastion
And,
does take out his notebook at this point and is writing everything down.
I suppose now we know where they were trying to take the hourglass to. She just there is just an almost crushing amount of guilt as she tells the story and thinks back.
Bastion, as you're writing all of this down, something dawns on you. The easiest way, the only way realistically, to get this thing out of the Silphus Desert would be by water. By boat.
That's what they were smuggling.
What was that?
There was a ship. There was a ship that Voz sent me to investigate. They had been smuggling artifacts. And Dom's parents, Morvo, that hit was... Sorry, puzzle pieces are coming together. Regardless, now things are starting to make a lot more sense. We know who was involved, we know what the object was, we know how this place was created. We know who created it, but we don't know why, other than this game. Just considering that it's a primordial. That might be the only reason they would create it, is for their sick pleasure. And there's no emotion. Bastion just is just running through facts and logic, and acknowledged what Ivy said. And acknowledged who killed Lothric and Ivy. And the moment that was mentioned, something dropped off. There was a shift. And it's hard to describe it other than he's just cold.
Ashton, I know this was a lot, but are you okay? She kind of reaches out a hand and gently places it on his shoulder.
Sorry, what were you asking?
She looks concerned. Are you okay? I know this is a lot.
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I want to tell you that I'm fine, but I don't think I am. You're back.
Kind of looks over.
What matters?
Still don't understand what's happening to me. I've never relived or revisited previous lives before. Nor have I switched between them. And whatever the many-faced one was doing during that fight, it was able to transfer damage and take.
You had a connection.
And as soon as he says that, she just kind of sits there, and it's like something processed from it, and she just kind of shuts down, like this is too much.
Sorry.
And she kind of looks back down.
Sorry. No, I noticed. I take it. I mean, it's weird to ask you this. It's very strange to ask you this. Do you know what you are?
She sits there and kind of keeps looking at her hands in her lap as she's kind of being together and looking more stressed and anxious and unsure than Bastion has ever seen her, for sure. And she just very, very softly says, "No."
Did you know you were like this? Did you know that you could reincarnate?
I remembered my other lives, but it was vague. It was I don't know if you've ever kept a journal, but it was like when you
And
go
Bastion
back
just
and-
kind of smiles and cocks an eyebrow.
She laughs a bit.
Well
That
played.
was a suppression. It was like I remembered the things, but it was vague. It was I always had to jump right into a new life. I didn't have a lot of time to think on things, and the longer ago they were, the harder they were to remember. And then in this place, it's like I can take the journals off the shelf and open them up and reread them. Every time I turned into another version of me. But yes, I knew I reincarnated. I don't remember exactly how or when it started.
How many lives have you lived?
She sits there for a minute, getting lost in thought.
Wow, really?
So many, I can't remember them all. I can only remember the number of years. And she kind of looks down in her lap again. I never talked about it before. There was no one to talk about it before, and it didn't seem relevant.
I understand. Sorry. I ask so many questions. That's one thing that hasn't changed.
She laughs a bit. Yes, we're always one to ask a lot of questions. And she very, very softly, Sebastian almost can't even hear it. She just says, I think I liked it better when I couldn't remember.
You're gonna have to say that louder. We couldn't actually hear it.
Sorry. I think I liked it better when I couldn't remember.
And, we're going to.
Ashton doesn't notice.
We're going to fly out to the stairs as Eros and Strahd descend the steps. Strahd with their Vorpal sword and the dancing sword around them and their animated shield. But not raised like they're ready, just at their side.
That one bat try to attack again? Or is
No,
it
it
gone?
fucked off.
Okay, good.
It fucked right off. It was like, nope, none of this.
Good.
So, Eros, how do you feel?
I like garbage. How about you?
Yeah, about the same. I don't think I ever thought I'd miss being a vampire, but all of a sudden, being mortal is catching up with me a little bit.
Yeah. I'm sure being a vampire had its perks. You know, super speed, super strength.
Regeneration, almost impossible to kill. Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, well, the last one might be a downfall. Who knows?
I'm not wrong on that account. But now, I wanted to cease to be for so long, and now I am afraid to. How about that, huh? Guess I really am human again.
Well, we're glad to have you.
Yes, well, I am glad to have you. You have brought a lot of joy to this place. I think it will need you even more in the days and weeks to come.
They got rid of my fucking paintings.
They did. That is rather rude. I liked them, by the way. Very funny. I had a good chuckle.
And that you appreciated them.
Good puns as well. Not enough people appreciate puns.
No. I can be very funny.
I'm sure you can.
Either way, there is a sentiment that I wanted to express to you when I got the chance, though I didn't really get much of a chance given. Oh, not even gonna try to figure out that. You have been very kind to us, to the group as a whole, and specifically to Liz. Thank you for that, for being there for her.
Oh. Well. She is unique. But you're welcome, I suppose.
You better keep that up.
I will certainly try.
Good. Shall we?
Yeah. And they kind of, as you step down into the main entrance hall, they sort of stop and like look around and just sort of get lost in memories of all of the terrible things they did in this place.
Come back to me for a second.
Ah. Yes, sorry.
Memories.
Yes. 400 years of being a monster. Well, longer, but I just count the time where I was physically a monster. And it was this place. But I did so much of it. I think I'll knock it down someday. This one, not the real one. People live there now.
I can find some really big sticks to help.
Yes, I think we'll need more than some really big sticks, but I do like your enthusiasm. Head's in the right place.
We'll figure it out.
Let us join the others and then find our missing friends, eh?
That sounds good.
Very well. After you.
Arrows will head on down.
Is there any more conversation between Ivy and Bastion?
I think as I imagine as Eros and Strahd rejoin, Bastion's in mid-sentence. So the funny thing about the eye is, remember the time that Lothric did and I kind of lost sight.
She kind of smiles as the memory comes back.
So I was doing a favor for Vaz, and it got a bit tricky, and hi.
Good evening, friends. And I think I can assume that this is another of Lys's forms?
Ivy looks up at Strahd and smiles. Yes, Ivy, at your service. And she sits there and she looks at Strahd for a minute, and she smiles and she closes her eyes. If you'll allow this, or I can use a fate point. And she flicks her fingers, and this adorable fairy dragon just pops out into existence and starts fluttering around. And it's
so
colored kind of like
so
scarlet
as
and
you go to summon the fairy dragon, it doesn't enter normally. It doesn't appear from the pocket dimension like it should. A small portal opens up that you recognize as the portal that Vaz uses, and you can see it flicker and struggle and barely hold on as the fairy dragon flies out and starts flittering around Ivy's head. If you would continue describing it, please.
Yeah, so it just kind of flutters around and makes like a little chirping sound, and looks super happy to see her, and just kind of comes and like lands on her shoulder and like rubs its little head, and it's got coloring kind of like a scarlet macaw with like the greens and the bright reds and stuff. It looks almost like a tropical bird, except it's a fairy dragon. And she smiles and kind of like rubs its head a little bit. And she visibly relaxes after the very tense conversation between her and Bastion, as she kind of whispers to it in Draconic.
That is adorable.
Well, what is the name of the fairy dragon again? Because Bastion would know, I think.
The thing is, I can't remember the name. I just... So you know what? I think its name is can't believe I forgot the name. I am a genius. Anyway, we're gonna call it Zoe. This is Zoe.
Zoe! Holy shit!
As Bastion says its name, it kind of perks its head up and kind of chirps and like flaps its wings, and then pops up and goes over to Bastion and kind of like sits on his shoulder and also nuzzles his cheek.
Hey! That is adorable.
It's
been a
so
long
good
time
to
since
see
we've
you again.
Well, me too. It just kind of like keeps nuzzling him and then kind of like flutters up and like goes around his head a couple of times and then goes over and just watches the other two as it like hovers in the air and kind of like cocks its head as it looks between Strahd and Arrows.
Strahd cocks his head to like match the cock. Like, match the cock. Phrasing. But
Bravo.
to match. Hello, Zoe. It is a pleasure. I am Strahd van... I am Strahd. And they like do a very respectful low bow.
As the fairy dragon also nods its head and kind of like chirps, and then it like flies over and like goes to Strahd's head and just kind of like plays with his hair a little bit, and then goes around and like sits in front of Arrows and hovers in front of Arrows.
Boop.
It kind of chirps in response, lets out a little squeak, and flaps its wings and like super excited, and it just does several circles around Arrow's head before coming and landing on their shoulder.
Arrow's like, wait, and then Arrows will sort of touch something along the side of their face as the fairy dragon wings that they have come out. I'm just like,
Yeah!
Hydrate.
The little fairy dragon is just like starts whistling and chirping and going kind of crazy as it sees the matching wings and like flashes its own and like is just super excited.
Arrows flaps his wings back.
I am a big fan of
Ivy is just smiling like, oh sorry, what was that?
Oh, Strahd was just saying that they're a big fan of Zoe.
Just a huge grin on Ivy's face at all of this. Well, it seems you've made a new friend there.
And as that's going on, Strahd kind of walks over and kind of holds out a hand to Ivy and is like, and so what do I call you?
Well, I was known as Ivy.
It's a pleasure, Ivy. And they'll lean down and like kiss her hand. As it turns out,
Bastion like
all of
looks
you-
visibly like
uncomfortable.
not upset, but just like uncomfy.
it's like
Just
like
like-
watching your sister mom flirt.
Oh, that's an uncomfortable phrase. I don't like that. Looks over to Eros and is like,
So it turns out that all of your forms are lovely.
Ivy kind of blushes a little bit, and she has this big, bright smile, and she goes, well, thank you.
and now Bastion's is just like embarrassed and is just trying to hide his face in his
The
hands.
sword
Like,
kind of comes
"Oh."
over,
Yeah.
like the floating sword kind of comes over and pats Strahd, like double taps Strahd on the shoulder. Strahd's like, ah, yes. I suppose there will be time for niceties later. We should probably find Dom and see if we can reverse poor Ranagar.
Arrows
Right.
wouldn't meet Bastion's eyes when Bastion
I know.
looked over.
Understood.
And there's Strahd. It's like, gazing on it. Probably best course of action. I don't want to be missing members.
Seeing Eros not meet Bastion's gaze, like, before we go off, I suppose, and he'll look to Ivy and just kind of like motion between the two of them. Suppose we should probably let them know how we know each other.
Oh yes, I'm Ivy.
Yeah. Just like, I just looks at Ivy is like, you're doing this on purpose. Like, God fucking damn.
She just smiles, pretends not to notice.
Uh-huh. Ivy is my sister.
Eros visibly perks up.
Strahd has a moment. They're like, I see. Okay.
And like Bastion looks at Strahd.
They go through
like,
the whole they go through the whole thought
Ivy
process
is
of
my
like
sister.
Very well.
Like, watch yourself.
So with that, Strahd kind of looks at
this
them and gives this look of like, try me.
Bastion looks at Strahd's human form and is like, it just looks
remembering that Strahd's human form did dunk an ancient dragon by themselves.
Remembering that we also beat Strahd human form.
Well,
anyway, continuing on.
With help.
With help.
There's this
Yes.
very brief like competitiveness going on, largely friendly. I don't think Strahd really is.
Oh yeah, no, Bastion's not actually being serious.
Yeah. It's
like,
very, but this very like brief exchange of like
of looks.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
that fight me friend look.
Ivy kind of
like
shakes
long
her.
silence. Yeah, exactly.
And like
The sword taps to Strahd on the shoulder again. Sorry, Blondie, you were saying? No, go ahead.
no, okay. As this is going on and she notices this out of the corner of her eye, she kind of like rolls her eyes to Eros and then reaches over and just kind of like gently shoves Bastion and she goes, yes, I had the pleasure of raising this knucklehead here, so I suppose I have to maybe apologize for that. She's obviously being playful.
Boy.
Yes, I think you might.
Apology accepted.
Yeah, apology accepted.
To be fair, I was just
But that's fair. I suppose you should probably find Dom and free Ranagar so you have the opportunity to apologize then as well. And the sword taps him on the shoulder again, much more emphasis this time. All right. Yes, I understand.
Hee-haw would defend me. Hee-haw!
Is he gonna sent away like the others?
I have a thought. Hee-haw was introduced as if they were a Lord of Barovia. Remember we did the whole bit?
No.
You think the many-faced one played into that?
Fuck.
Scattered
Oh
them
dear.
too? Well, I suppose we should find our friends.
We should go. Definitely, we should go.
As
like
the
now.
party goes to leave the chapel, we're going to close tonight's chapter a little bit early, as we will need the rest of our party to continue the adventure. So, thank you all so much for joining us in the Tavern of Tales this evening for another chapter of Houses of Barovia, with a lot of reveals and important information coming out in this shortened episode. Since we just did our shoutouts before break, I think we'll just breeze on past those. I will just do a reminder. Please join our Discord, where you will find information on all the things that we do here, including the Tavern of Tales, which will go live hopefully tomorrow, but certainly this week, and info on when the Patreon goes live with all of the homebrew stuff, and then some player guides, DM guides, class interviews, character creation, the whole process. That one is not a mod. Can I make it a mod? I can't. I'll make it a mod later. So for all of those info, to keep up on all that, and to get yourself some really cool merch, some of it's really sweet. I'll remind everyone again. So we'll have Tavern of Tales merch, Houses of Barovia merch, Dragonberries. They came out of me with this delightful Ranagar. I love your D&D character. Thanks. It's the trauma. What was the other one? What is D&D but accidental therapy?
Mm-hmm.
And is that all of them? I think that's all of them for this week that I can think of, but there might be more. And yes, wonderful question, Alex Rose. All of the VODs will be up on YouTube. I think I've got almost all of them up there now. I think I'm up to like chapter 13 or 14. But this week, the rest of the VODs will be posted, and they will be posted weekly. So all of the VODs are there if you want to catch up on everything that's happened. And I know we keep saying this, keep having things catch up and stop us, but a recap is coming that will basically catch you up from all the way up to episode 14. So you'll be able to jump in at episode 15, which was the beautiful flashback that we did of Ranagar and Vess. It's my favorite episode that we've done so far. It was hilarious. It was fun. It was flashy, and then it was epic, and then we tear your fucking hearts out. So, but with all that said, this was chapter 17, Jim Bob. With all that said, thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. We appreciate everything you guys do and help us out with. And we will see you. Why can't I find my ending screen? What?
What's the news? What's the
Oh,
surprise?
no. They get to find that out next week. You guys get to find out afterwards. Appreciate you all very much. It is last call in the Tavern of Tales. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Have a good evening, everyone.